Good evening, everybody. This is Chief Meteorologist Jeff George here from the UCN Weather team, giving you an update on the tropical situation that we have out there. And we're going to set the record straight on a few things, mainly because you may be hearing stories or getting some information from a source that's saying a hurricane is going to slam into Texas or South Texas next week. So let's go ahead and cut through the BS and see what's what. What I can show you right now is on our barren system, and this is our new weather system, and it is fantastic. Now, we're mostly going to use this when we have a big tropical system or some other kind of big weather event barreling down on an area. So if we have, let's say, a hurricane coming into Louisiana or somewhere along the Gulf Coast, this system is going to keep you as safe as possible. It's amazing what it can do. And I'll be showing you more of that as we head through hurricane season, of course. But right now, since we don't have really a system in the Bay of Campeche or in the Gulf of Mexico, what I do want to show you right now on this system here, the radar, you can see that South Florida is still getting slammed with heavy rain. They are getting pounded with flooding rains, and flash flood warnings are continuing all throughout parts of central and southern Florida, and that's mainly because of that tropical system, that area of low pressure that was heading across Florida. And what I've done is I plotted these spaghetti plots on here for you. So this system actually, some tropical models were run on this system, and as you can see, as it's exiting Florida and heading along the eastern seaboard, it'll stay well off the coast, by the way. But as it heads past or several hundred miles east of the Carolinas, it could see some more development. So this could turn maybe into maybe a depression, okay, or maybe another tropical system as it heads northeast. One thing for sure is that it's going to have low to no impacts along the East Coast, especially North Carolina, South Carolina, whatever. So we're going to be able to kiss this baby goodbye here in the next 24 hours or so. The other system that we're looking at and that we're going to keep an eye on this weekend and next week, it's in the Bay of Campeche. Okay, that's where it's going to start more than likely, coming off the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. You don't see anything right now because there ain't nothing out there to worry about. So even if I turn on the satellite, you're able to see that all we have down here in this area is just a bunch of clouds. Absolutely nothing to worry about. So we're not going to really worry or be concerned about anything until there's something to be concerned about, and that's really not a thing just yet. So let me go ahead and show you the National Hurricane Center's latest forecast. So there she blows. Let me go ahead and get down to the map here. So this first area that we see here, the yellow X, that's that system that has passed through Florida, that has dumped historical rain on the central and southern parts of Florida. It's on the way out. So it's still an area of low pressure, and it was circulating, it was spinning, and it's still doing that. But again, in the next couple of days, not going to have to worry about that too much. Now, this is the area of concern that we have down here, this orange blob, and we can just read it real quick. It's a broad area of low pressure. It's forecast to form over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico, where that area is called the Bay of Campeche. That'll happen late this weekend into early next week, and conditions do appear favorable for some gradual development. A tropical depression could form early to the middle parts of next week as it moves slowly westward and west-northwestward. So that's the key right there, is the movement. So either it'll move due west or slightly west-northwest, meaning that if it forms where it's expected to form, no impacts. Let's say no direct impacts or landfall is expected in Texas, South Texas, Central Texas, anywhere along the Gulf Coast. Okay, that's the forecast for right now, but you know how fast things can change, and that's why at this time of year, especially if you live in a coastal area or anywhere near a coast, you should not really go more than 24 to 48 hours without checking the forecast. So please go ahead and do that. Okay, so what I want to show you here is why the National Hurricane Center is looking at this area and why they're forecasting that movement and that kind of development. Okay, so we're looking at some computer models here, and this is from Tropical Tidbits, by the way. This thing is freaking fantastic when it comes to pulling in a bunch of hurricane models, ensemble models, and this gives forecasters and meteorologists it's almost a one-stop shop. So we can see what's going on out there in the tropics right now, and it helps us forecast. Now we're going to look at a lot of other data too, a whole lot more, but this is a great start. So this is one computer model that I wanted to show you. It's called a European model. You may have heard of that. And right now I have it zoomed in on the, or I have it brought up to right about now actually. So what I'm circling right there, there's that low pressure area that's moving out of Florida. Okay, and right down here in the Bay of Campeche, this is the area of concern, and I'll show you why it's an area of concern here as we move along. All right, let me go ahead and push this model through. I'm going to go fast through the next couple days, 24, 48 hours. You don't really see much happening down in that area. But as we go into Monday and Tuesday, this is this weekend, nothing, a bunch of rain, no big surprise. But watch what starts to form right about now. So this is Tuesday, Monday night, and a Tuesday morning. You see an area of low pressure right here. Okay, it's at 1,001 millibars. That means a lot to me, means nothing to you. I'll explain what it means though. And you start to see it kind of just meander around. It's going to kind of lollygag in that area for a couple days. You can still see the circulation right there. And into Wednesday and Thursday, it hasn't really gotten stronger. Okay, it kind of bebops around. Now on Wednesday night and a Thursday morning, it does intensify a little bit as it moves towards warmer waters along the east coast of Mexico. And you can see it does make landfall. And this is why the National Hurricane Center was saying, hey, it's more than likely going to move west-northwest. And that's what you see right there. So it makes landfall somewhere in Mexico at that strength. That is, or it could be a tropical depression. I wouldn't say a tropical storm from this model. We have other hurricane models that we look at, of course. So judging by this one here, not a hurricane and not coming into Texas. Now we have other models we want to look at. We don't ever want to look at just one. So there's two things we're looking for when we're looking at all this computer stuff and all these models come at us. Number one, consistency. Okay, is the same model going to say the same thing over and over again over a period of time? Just because one computer model comes out and says that, hey, we're going to have a ginormous hurricane slam into Texas, we're not going to go ahead and forecast that immediately. We want to see several runs and maybe 12 to 24 hours of that same model saying the same thing. That's just one thing that we look for. Another thing is consensus. So we want not just one model, we would like to see 3 or 4 or 5 of our favorite, most reliable models saying the same thing. So we want to have consistency. Okay, well, let's say we want to have consensus, a bunch of models saying the same thing. We want that same thing to be said and told over the course of 24 hours, maybe 2 or 3 days, and that's when our confidence starts to build. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at another model that we have here. Let's see, that was a European model. This is more of a global model. And let me see. We're going to look at the same exact area. Watch down here. So right now, this is looking at, let's go back to right about now. I'm pushing this model through the weekend. Keep your eye on that area right here. Okay, again, same timing. So we're getting some consensus here, right? We're seeing two models saying the same thing about the same time. Next Monday night and a Tuesday, we see an area of low pressure down there. You see the circulation. Okay, and it makes landfall. The center of circulation makes landfall right about here, Wednesday into Thursday. Almost the exact same thing as what that other model was telling us. Again, nowhere near the southern tip of Texas and nowhere near hurricane strength. Again, that's tropical depression, borderline tropical storm. Of course, a tropical depression gets a number, not a name. Tropical storm gets a name. Okay, so we get two things telling us, Texas, don't worry too much. And then we have this other model down here. Let's go with this Canadian model. Let's see what the Canadians are doing here. Now, this doesn't go out far enough. It stops here on Sunday into Monday. Okay, but starting to show development Sunday into Monday. So that's kind of telling us that, again, we need to watch that area. Here is another one. It's called the NavGem. This is a North American model. And then watch this thing here. We would like to see consensus. If we're going to see all these models, or at least these 2 or 3 say the same thing, we want to see kind of what we're seeing right now. You're seeing a circle, a closed off circle right there, meaning that there's a low pressure area. It strengthens a little bit into Wednesday and Thursday like the other two. Not even close to hurricane strength. tropical depression, tropical storm maybe, and it goes several hundred miles south of Texas. So here's what I'm getting at. We have 3 models saying the same thing. I can show you 2 more that are also saying the same exact thing. Now, what I can do, if you like me to, is show you a model. I can choose one, okay, one out of maybe a dozen or so that's saying, hey, there's a huge hurricane going to slam into South Texas, and we need to be worried, we need to panic, and we need to start doing stuff right now. If I do that to you, not only is that completely irresponsible, but it's also fear-mongering, and it's crying wolf. That means if I keep saying that over and over again, if I keep dragging you into this forecast and it doesn't happen, it doesn't pan out, I'm not doing you any favors. Actually, that's a very irresponsible thing to do. It's a very dangerous game to play, and we don't play that game here. With the UCN Weather team, homie, don't play that. Okay, so we're going to give you responsible forecasting. I'm going to tell you exactly what's more likely going to happen. Because in 4 or 5 days, is it possible a hurricane could get close to South Texas? It is possible. Okay, it's science, it's forecasting. Anything is possible, but what's most likely? And I just showed you 3, if not 4 models saying that not only is the storm going to stay south of Texas, it's going to be somewhere along the lines of a tropical depression or tropical storm at the worst. But again, just letting you know, like we talked about at the top of this thing, anywhere along the Gulf Coast, any coastal areas, please don't go more than 24 to 48 hours without checking the forecast, because that storm could intensify. It could go up a little bit farther north. It's not doing that right now. Okay. I want to make sure that you know that, and we cut out some of that stuff that maybe you've been hearing. Okay, so I hope that helps you out. Now, also please keep in mind that if this does play out, if you do have a tropical depression, a low-end tropical storm, make landfall on the eastern sides of Mexico, just north of the Bay of Campeche and south of Texas. Okay, South Texas, you're going to get some impacts possibly. The winds will increase, the rain will increase, you'll get some gusty showers and thunderstorms and that kind of thing. But anything as far as a big hurricane or something like that next week. So here's what we need to do. Between now and next week, okay, let's talk about what we're not going to do. We're not going to panic, okay? No panicking. All we're going to do right now is prepare. And that's one of the things you want to do with any system that's 3 and 4 and 5 days out. We are not going to panic. We're going to stay prepared, okay? And from here on out, for the next 5.5 to 6 months, any coastal areas, okay, Gulf Coast, Atlantic Coast, need to be prepared. Need not to go more than a couple days without checking the forecast. Have your plan in place, have your supplies, and we're going to go over all this stuff as the weeks go along here. Okay, so again, we're not in panic mode right now. We're in preparation mode. We should always be in preparation mode at this time of year. Okay, that's really all I have to say, everyone. If there's been any questions, I'll try to get to them later on this evening. From the UCN Weather Team, I'm Meteorologist Jeff George. Please remember, united is strength.